Hi, my name is Tanya Curry, and this is this week's Acumen Media Report. It's entitled Insurrection and Resurrection. What would Mandela say? How are you, South Africa? How are you coping? Are you healthy and virus-free? Are you safe? Have you got food? Are you able to work? Are you able to study? And I can only guess that these answers are no in most instances. And what would Mandela say? My dear South African, you've been through so much in this past week, in the past few days. And as I wrap up this media on this Thursday afternoon, I feel real pain. As I read the statistics that showed 26,000 results of mentions about rebuilding South Africa and 28,000 results for Mandela Day, a combined engagement of 200,000 people at any one time, I'm so sorry, my South African friend. I know you are tired, scared, and pushing hard to make another 24 hours. I'm sorry that a force came and turned our country upside down. I'm sorry you jumped into the looting without a thought. I'm sorry you have no bread today. I'm sorry that you are tasked to rebuild without any support. I'm sorry that we are on our own. What would Mandela say? This week, our president stood up for the first time in a long time and called a coup d'etat an insurrection. I don't know how you feel, but this noun has been interrogated harder than Zuma ever will be. So let me break it down for you. Insurrection. It's a noun. It means a violent uprising against an authority or government. That's according to Professor Google. A coup attempt, in other words. We called it South Africa. We called it long before the president stood up. In fact, by the time he called it, we were resurrecting. I've seen so many images of South Africans pulling together to show us the most magnificent solidarity that can only be compared to 2010 and 94, except this time we didn't need sport or politicians. We were doing this ourselves for ourselves. Food started to appear in the streets of Durban. Home-baked bread was handed out on street corners. We will not see our brothers and sisters starve, even though we were played. Rebuild SA and Clean Up SA included the frail, old, and differently abled all joining together and clearing the streets of the horror of the insurrection. What would Mandela say? I saw people learn quickly how to barricade and protect themselves and their neighbors. We saw ShopRite make canola oil a very effective anti-looter mechanism. We also learned that people can forward unverified voice notes and misinformation faster than you can slide across ShopRite's entrance. My phone was filled with nameless voice notes with the caption "forwarded many times," and all of them referring to pending doom. Fake news became so bad, I almost had empathy for Trump. Almost. After a little lie down, I was okay. Mandela Day came during our cleanup. Fitting? Not fitting at all. This was not us. We didn't make the mess and then clean it up. We fixed the old mess on Mandela Day. But today this is us. Tired but not demotivated. We have no choice. We will rise from this nonsense that was sent to divide us. I watched as SAPS and SANDF moved into action very late out of the gate, but arrests were made and we saw images of Cele shouting through loudspeakers across the worst parts of KZN. He was even walking across the arrested, his eyes heavy with South Africa's crushed dreams. We've heard that as many as 500 bodies are lying in the mortuary unidentified and over 300 are confirmed dead. Collateral damage, hey Duduzane. We should have looted responsibly. The next thing we were told that Dlodlo, the minister, and the Minister of Police knew all along what was coming. Who cares? Sleeping or not sleeping, South Africa has spoken while you are muttering amongst yourselves. Enter the most embarrassing moment, and there have been many, including a 67,000 rand couch in teal blue sitting outside a shack. Boy, have we had some pearlers. But this one is my worst of the week. Mbucks lost all his razzmatazz, and he is certainly scared, he fears, the BBC. He was badly beaten by a journalist sitting in London who called his faceless insurrection a farce, and that the truth was that Zuma and his cadres caused this chaos. Hard talk indeed, as Mr. Fix was told that the ANC is at war with itself and has done nothing in a quarter of a century. Even I winced at that bit. But Stephen Sakura is right in many respects. Not all, because he missed the point that ordinary South Africans are actually in charge. He missed the point, and I think the ANC missed it too, and maybe some of you at home as well. I wish someone would just have the bottle to say it. Zuma and his cronies tried to take over the government because finally, after over a decade, Zuma and other big names are backed into a corner. They don't like it at all. And they came out with a bunch of terrorists and social media instigators that drove these provinces to their knees in less than 24 hours. Well, that was the intention. However, and here's the thing, just another 24 hours later and South Africans said no. So then we say this, we've suffered huge damage. We are financially buckled as it is. The poorest of the poor have been hammered, and it's time for someone to pay for this heinous crime. Somebody come out and tell us that with immediate effect, there are arrests in the Zuma family that were witnessed instigating violence on social media, that they're putting Ace, Carl, and many other names that are on the list behind bars, in remand, if you will. We are taking a broom and sweeping up the filth. Say it. And once we've corralled them, we're going to dress them in orange. We're going to paint them with the color orange so bold that Mandela would be proud. We've heard you, South Africa. Say that you understand us, that we will not be played. And if we have to, we will defend ourselves. Instead, the president thanked us for manning the ship while they were sleeping. And he picked up a broom on Mandela Day and swept up plastic while we waited. A couple of days later on TV, the defense minister, Mapisa Nkakula, disagreed with the president, saying there was no coup d'etat or insurrection. About 12 seconds later, she touched on that and fully agreed that, in fact, there was indeed an insurrection. She played with the words until she herself didn't understand what she was saying, and her 180-degree turn came shortly after when Ntshavheni, the president's spokesperson, made it quite clear that it was an insurrection and any other narrative would be contradicting the president. Yeah, ne? That must have burnt. A word on Ntshavheni. I like her. She's straight to the point, has no need for pleasantries, and you get what you're given. I don't mind grumpy people, as long as they get stuff done. We saw arrests. One was unique and captured our imagination for sure. Mchunu was arrested and labeled an instigator of the insurrection. This because of his influential media voice threatening that if Zuma was not released in 3 days, there would be payback on the streets. He has been remanded in prison pending trial. In other words, he's going down. You don't just get remanded in this country. Come on, guys. Even Ubaba is out today at a funeral. Where is he? Are we sure he's back, by the way? Who gets remanded? Maybe they're making an example of him, but if Mchunu gets found guilty and put into the cells, then so will Duduzane Zuma, Duduzile Zuma, and many others. In fact, Andile Lungisa was also brought into the station where he was. In his words, he says he was harassed by police. He went in as a suspected instigator and walked out as a person who broke lockdown regulations. Don't worry, guys, it doesn't matter. Siyavuma. And even Gumede herself made a short left to the police station. The rats are really starting to scurry. In fact, remember the guy who looted in the BMW? He lost his job. He was a CEO. A lifetime of work lost for a basket of goods he didn't need. Madness. I really loathe giving this man so much airtime, but I'm compelled because all the media is on the Zuma zipline. We watched Zuma get a postponement for the arms deal case because, oh wait, actually I don't know. What I do know is that Darlene Porfu argued that if you're on Zoom, you're not actually present. I can vouch for that. I feel like I'm not present in these endless webinars that have become part of our working day. For me, the timing is off. I think we're waiting for Ace Makashule's fate with his suspension. And perhaps then Zooming with Zuma will be acceptable once Mr. 10% is taken to task. Just when we thought it was only 2 provinces in a mess, enter the Western Cape, always a little late, but always willing to make a grand entrance. The taxi violence has seen more than 80 people murdered in what we are told is a turf war, but more like just gangsters running wild. Someone call Becky or Mr. Fix. Oh, okay, wait, sorry, we learnt about that one. Fix it yourself, that's what we came up with. Fix it yourself, Cape Town. Try not to create 500 unidentified bodies in a mortuary, okay? My word, this report is depressing, and I'm not even done. Much to the dismay of Julius Malema, the CR17 bank statements remain sealed. What a farce that was, and an utter waste of money. Julius was so irritated that he said something that made me lose the very last bit of respect that I had for him. For those who know me well, I've been known to call Juju a marketing genius and an exceptional orator. But even that was numbed when he said he was glad Karima Brown was dead. You picked on her your whole career, and now that she's not here to see the hot mess you've become, you trample on her grave. How dare you, Malema? Your patriarchy and menace come shining through. What would Mandela say? Judd Moseneka's voice reminded me of the days when I watched him grieve for the dead at Life Isidameni. So much respect for that man. I wonder what he thinks as we're now witnessing the Life Isidameni criminal case unfold. I'm sure, like you and I, he's hoping to lock them up. In the meantime, the good judge told us that the SA elections are postponed to next year, February, and not a moment later. Did you hear that? Mr. President, you have 6 months to turn this around. Did you hear that, South Africa? We have half a year to find proper leaders. Rise up those heroes amongst us and put your face on the ballot paper. We need new leadership. Someone tell Gift of the Givers or Nhlanhla Nux to go and do it just for fun, because I want to see something. In other news, the Dome shut its doors and we are told that COVID infections are down, but no one seems to have accounted for the fact that last week we were in a war zone and we're unlikely to be having earbuds shoved up our throats. Imagine this country next week when the looters that forgot about COVID and all of that, while they stampeded over each other for televisions that nobody needed. Let's not deal with that today because I simply can't, okay? Then Ramaphosa and a bunch of elites' phones were hacked in what's being called the Pegasus Project. Who comes up with these names? There's a cold front that is barreling its way up South Africa, and there should be. It should snow. You want to know why? Bafana won the COSAFA Cup. Shh, don't talk about the penalties, guys. I'll take it. I'll take anything. I started this as a letter to you, my South Africans, so I'll end it with this. Dear friend, take care of your health, your family, and your neighbors. Mandela feels like a lifetime ago, his legacy riddled with political footballing. But let's do one thing. Let's stick together and rise. Rise, my South African friend. Rise. My name is Tanya Curry, and this is this week's Acumen Media Report.